All right. Hello, hello. Okay. I'm really excited to do some Etsy Q&A, go over some Etsy updates. I'm curious how the month is going for you. We're going to be answering questions that you've submitted over on Facebook and Instagram. So we'll start with those. I got to see hundreds of you last night at our webinar. It was all about 30-day game plan to scale your Etsy shop and to increase your sales. So that was really fun. I was up after midnight after that webinar. It was quite a day. And I'm going to go ahead, though, and get started with some of your questions from Facebook. Okay. Let me grab Instagram as well. Okay. Okay, we got some good questions on Instagram. So let's start with the Facebook ones first, and then we will head over to Instagram. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So a couple things. This person, actually, it's the same person that asked, how do we add branding to our photos? This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see with Etsy sellers. You do not add your branding by putting your logo on your photos. People who they hear, I need to have branded photos, they think I need to put my logo on my pictures. Actually, it's the opposite. You need to communicate everything you want to communicate about your brand through the composition of that thumbnail. Also through the composition of the design. So the spacing, the colors, the tones, right? Are we high contrast? Are we low contrast? Are we bright? Are we more muted? So how do we add branding to our photos? You're not adding something. You're not adding a logo. And this is the other thing. People think I need to, in order to have branded photos, I need to put this text overlay that is in the certain color of my brand colors. Like my logo is lavender. So all of my thumbnail photos, that I want to say that I want to say free shipping on it with a text overlay, it has to be in lavender to tie into my brand. Your brand is not a color, your brand is not a font. Your brand is really representing the type of person that you want to attract and really embodying what they idealize and aspire to live like. So that is your brand. Your brand is also associations. Okay, so if we start to talk about branding, let me show you some examples here. I could talk all day about branding. But let's say, okay, actually, I'm gonna show you a couple things. So we're just gonna type in sweatshirt mockup. Let me make this a little bigger for you. Okay, there we go. So let's say we are doing sweatshirts and you're doing print on demand, but you want to have branded photos. So that means we are going to be really selectively curating these mockups to reflect our brand. So let's say, what kind of brand do these kind of allude to? Okay, so for example, this one, this is actually pretty strong message. So you are going to attract someone who is wanting to feel younger, or maybe they are younger. They want to be trendy. They are kind of into that effortless loungewear type of look, but they still care how they look, right? You can see that's like totally a spray tan, highlights, jewelry, even though we're wearing an oversized sweatshirt. The home, you can see it's intentional. The background is very intentional, it's very minimalistic. The things that are placed in the background are very intentional. So you are attracting someone who, um, really kind of fits into this lifestyle. You're not gonna put, grandma and birth flower representations of the grandchildren on this sweatshirt. Okay, let's take another look. Let's look at some not so great mock-ups. Okay, this was another one. So, and when we talk about building the brand through associations, now you never wanna actually have the Starbucks logo. You could have something that alludes to the Starbucks logo. It's a different green logo. But this is a very branded photo, even though it's a mock-up, and it is associating with the type of person who maybe is kind of in that morning. This is definitely like morning, heading to brunch, going on a morning walk, meeting my girlfriend for coffee. I've got my Lululemons on and my oversized but cute sweatshirt, and um, a hat, which, I mean, hats are very, they definitely add a very intentional, they're an intentional accessory with sweatshirts, I would say. And then, of course, we've got the Starbucks coffee, which completely, it ties into the green, which really makes the green pop even more. It ties into the green chairs, so it really makes that pop. And this is definitely a specific type of customer. Um, Okay, same thing with this. Now, this type of hat is very different than this type of hat. So we have like the dad style cap, and then we have more of the trucker style hat. Two different types of customers. So the question was, how do we add branding to photos? You're not necessarily adding your branding to a photo, but you're curating your photos in a branded way. If you're using mockups and if you're doing your own photography, um, then I would say it's really has more to do with the background and your color combinations. So not specific color, but the way you're combining colors. Okay. What color, this is another one. What color backdrops should we be using in product photography this year? So this is another thing. I would say, let me show you an example. It's not about the color of the backdrop. It's how the product relates to that color. And let me show you an example. Okay, so let me give you several examples. I'm going to show you a few things here. Okay. So when we talk about what color backdrops do well, sometimes people are looking for gray, tan, pink, a specific color of a backdrop. But what we're looking for is not the background color itself. We're looking for the combination of the product with that background color. And what works really well right now, and it's been working consistently well for, I would say, at least 18 to 24 months, is this kind of tone on tone, kind of two-tone monochromatic type of look. So instead of trying to create super high contrast here, right, we are taking a variation of this color and we're using it as the background. Okay. Now we're using lighting then to make sure that there is a clear outline around the product, which here is the sock or the leg or the foot, right? So we're using specific lighting to create the definition, even though and that creates contrast between a background and the product, which are very similar colors. We see that now here is a little bit different. This is going for contrast to highlight the product itself, which is this, large succulent planter. So what they want to draw attention to here by choosing this darker background is the detail of this product. So we basically have a darker background that ties into the darker shadowing of this ribbed vertical kind of, what would you call that? ribbed pedestal look. So there's a darker shadow in here that is really much more obvious because the background is darker. Not to mention it's tying into the succulents themselves. So it's really drawing attention to the detail of the succulents. Okay, with this one, it's definitely the tone on tone look. We see this example as well here. So we're not picking a background color and using it for all of our products. We are looking at each product and deciding what background we want with it. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. Any Etsy questions that I can answer for you? I have some more that came through Instagram. Okay. Okay. Said, is it okay to sell? Actually, let's see if I can pull these up for you. No, I can't hear. So that's okay. Someone asked here, is it okay to sell birthday and wedding invitations and gifts and decor in the same shop? I would say yes, as long as it is a cohesive aesthetic. So let's say the birthday is very like gender neutral, first birthday, toddler birthday theme, kind of vintage inspired VW buses and kind of muddy colors. And then the wedding is like bold jewel tones and emerald greens. Then you're going to want to use site merchandising to create a journey through the shop. But yes, you can totally sell birthday, wedding invites, gifts, decor in the same shop. For me, I started with wedding and then I moved into baby and events related to baby. So we're talking not just bridal showers and weddings and bachelorettes, but then baby showers, baptisms, right? Bringing baby home, baby nursery, first birthday, second birthday, all the way up till 21st birthday. And then another event I added in was it's kind of morbid, but funerals and memorial, right? That's a whole nother category. So you might be thinking, ooh, baby and funeral in the same shop. Is that really a good idea? Well, you're serving customer through stages of their life, right? The person planning the baby shower for the cousin, they might also be planning the funeral, their memorial for the parent or the grandparent. So you want to be the go-to for events, occasions, milestones. All right. Let's see here. How do I know if I should deactivate the rest of listings not enjoying optimized listings? Oh, what? Not enjoying optimizing. Oh, move on to new listings. So you're not enjoying optimizing listings. You want to move on to new listings. And how do you know if you should deactivate? Well, that is a choice, but you got to do one or the other. You can't leave dead listings in the shop. I just had a coaching call this morning with our sellers. If you're curious what those look like, I'll pull it up. Okay, so under events here, oh, there's a coaching call happening right now. It has been a busy day for support. We had my coaching call at 8. We had a lawyer come in and help at 9. And we have a coaching call happening right now. But on my coaching call this morning, and I'll see if I can pull the shop up. Let's see here. It's not showing. Oh, I think we might have already posted it. But we basically went through a shop that really did not have the listings fully optimized on this call. And the person on the call was discouraged about not having sales yet. But it's because there were listings that were sitting there, and it's almost like having dead weight, kind of, right? Dead weight that is holding you back. If you publish a new listing, it's not going to do as well because those dead listings in the shop, they are creating this negative shop quality score. Their conversion rates down, click-through rates down, traffic is down on those listings because they're not optimized. So what ends up happening is you end up putting any like actually optimized listing into the shop and it doesn't do as well. Like you're not even giving it a fair chance because all this other muck in your shop is just really kind of a dark cloud over the new listings, preventing them from ever thriving. Um, so I would say, gosh, if you are not enjoying optimizing listings, you're going to learn to enjoy it because any new listing you put in will have to be optimized. But I would deactivate them if they are just dead weight in the shop right now. Any other questions? Oh, these are good here. All right, great question. How do you serve people in different stages of their life when you sell vintage? We actually have vintage sellers in our program who do quite well. So when you are looking at serving them through different stages, I would look at what are they buying the vintage items for? Are these for holiday decor, for example, like vintage Santa Claus, whatever, or vintage what are those little villages, right? Christmas villages, or those little baby, it's like little angelic looking ornaments. Blanking on the name, but are you serving them for a specific time of year? Then look at, okay, what else do they decorate for? What else is seasonal for them that you could bring in and serve them for that season? If you're thinking about stages of their life, let's say you are selling, um, let's say, kind of vintage, let's say, if you have a product that you sell, feel free to put it in the chat. Let's say it's vintage. I have an idea. Let's say it's vintage dishes, right? We see a lot of this vintage kind of dishware and tableware and maybe drinkware, and that's kind of what you sell. Well, you could position it in so many different ways. For example, you could position it as um, one of those have I don't know if you've seen this, but they're kind of for, smaller weddings, more intimate weddings, where they will do a instead of matching, um, like, table settings, they will really kind of combine it's kind of like a tea party look, but very eclectic, where they will get a bunch of vintage, like, table settings, and it's kind of a mix and match kind of look, but that's been a trend, so you could market it for wedding, you could market it, let's say, for nursery, and maybe it's a little trinket tray. You market the little plate as like a little ring dish or a little trinket tray for baby keepsakes. Um, and then maybe you position it as then a gift for a collector, right? Maybe it's like a grandparent who collects this specific line of dishware or something, and you're positioning it for a collector of XYZ. So it's really about looking at who do they shop for in their life, what's going on in their life, uh, what milestones are happening, what events are they planning, what are they decorating for? Unless you're doing apparel, I mean, that would be a little bit different. Okay, yeah, you're doing home decor. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, for decor, this would totally fit then. Um, and also, do they have other homes, right? Do they have other homes? When do they travel to those other homes? Do they rent out those other homes? Um, do they buy the home decor just for themselves or other people? If so, what events and occasions do they buy those things for those other people? Um, so it's really with decor, home decor, especially if it's vintage and it's giftable, like non-sized items, which home decor often is. Um, then we're looking at not just how to serve them through phases of their life, but through phases of their loved ones' lives that they might purchase it for, right? And we want to position it both for a self purchase and an other people purchase. And uh, that's why positioning, I would say, with vintage, it's like the key to success outside of your imagery and your photos and your thumbnails. Um, Positioning is everything. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Here's a good question. What should we do with Christmas listings, for example, that sold well? Should you deactivate and reactivate around July? Heather, I am curious if your Christmas listings are, first of all, optimized for Pinterest. Um, Second of all, are they doing well on Pinterest? If so, I would not do anything to them. I would not remove them. I would keep them live and just rotate them to the back. If they are not optimized for Pinterest, if you haven't had success on Pinterest, it might mean that they were not optimized for Pinterest. Then I would say let them just fade out. It's probably going to be right within around a month of the holidays, anyways. So just let them, I would say, turn on like the manual renewal so it doesn't auto renew. And then, yes, I would reactivate around July. Now, if that listing never sold, I would deactivate it right away. If it's never sold at Christmas, I would just deactivate it immediately. And then, if it actually never sold in its lifetime, when you reactivate around July, you're going to want to make a new listing. You're not going to want to reuse that shell because that shell has a negative score on it. Okay. Any other questions? I did have a bunch more on Instagram here. Let me see here. We have someone just messaged that they are trying to schedule a call with us and there were no times available. Okay. Okay. We should have some time. So we have 2 times tomorrow. We have a few times Friday, and then we did have to open up Saturday. So if you are trying to schedule a call, you can just use this link with us. And this call is to chat more about your Etsy shop, and then we actually take you into our full program. Now, we're very selective with the program at this point, just because we want to make sure whoever we work with is ready to really work for changes in their shop. So if you're happy with your shop and you're like thrilled with your financial situation in your business, I wouldn't schedule this. But if you are wanting to improve that, then we can show you the process for how we would help you improve that. Okay. Okay, let me grab those from Instagram. Share a few examples of ways to create organic traffic to your Etsy shop. Great question. So there's many ways to do this. I think the easiest way, let me actually show you, because all of our methods in modules 1 through 4 are really focused on the traffic side of things. So there's 2 things I want to show you because it is important to do the order of operations correctly. If you're trying to get traffic and you are going, bonkers out of order, then it's not going to work. Paulina asked, are you looking at Etsy shops? Yes, happy to pull a shop up. But basically the order that you want to go with for getting organic traffic is number 1, identifying your customer. And you might think, well, I already have a product. I don't need to go back to identifying a customer. Yes, we do. Because if you're not having strong traffic, you're probably not aligning your SEO for the right people who would convert. So we want to make sure we're targeting the right customers. So we do this here. I'll zoom in a little bit. We do this customer research part just to ensure that you are going to show up in front of the right people and that you're going to use the right SEO. Okay. And then we move into fixing your SEO. This should be one of the strongest components of getting that that organic free traffic. So fixing your SEO, there's so many places to have your SEO. And then in module 4, which is the sprint, we talk about driving traffic. So only after you've ensured that you're targeting profitable customers, you fix the SEO in every single area, then we want to start focusing on driving external traffic. We don't start driving external traffic if you haven't fixed all that. It really wouldn't make any sense. So we start with, let me show you here, pretty much every single platform. So Facebook is huge. Instagram, of course. And then Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, we cover all of that here. So those are that's actually the order in which I would attack your traffic driving strategies as well. Okay, cool. I just realized we have a leadership meeting for our client success team. So I better jump to that, but I hope this was helpful. And just remember the order of operations matters. So if you're thinking about driving organic traffic, start with your customer, then SEO, then Facebook, then Instagram, then Pinterest. And if you want to layer on TikTok and YouTube, you can. Okay, guys. All right. We'll see you next week.